Okay, here we go. Alrighty, here we go for Butch Leitzinger. Let's do this. Okay, here we go for Butch Leitzinger. Let's get my questions pulled out. Let's see.
Hello, Doug, how are you?
Good. This is Butch Leitzinger, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good, thanks. How about yourself?
Oh wait, say that again.
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Things are going well so far this year.
Good.
Yeah. How are you doing with this whole virus thing?
Yeah, we're getting through it. Of course, we're on lockdown with my wife and kids, and trying to do the homeschooling and all that. But we're getting through it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Don't you have a degree in business?
Yeah, business management.
Yeah, I thought I'd tell you that I'm studying business myself.
Oh, right. Where are you studying?
University of the People.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't actually, no. Is that what do you call it? I can't think what they call it. Remote,
It's online.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's tuition free. We charge for the tests.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you might want to look into that for your kids eventually.
Right. I know a lot of I live in a university down here, Penn State University. I know they've started to shift a lot more towards online learning, even before the coronavirus.
Very interesting. So yeah, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an author and a YouTube star.
Alright.
Yeah, and I also am a screenwriter, as well as, let me think if there's others. Oh yeah, I'm also involved in a number of charities for autism awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Because I have Asperger's disorder.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's not stopped me from achieving things, you know what I mean?
Well, obviously not. You have quite a long list of accomplishments.
Yeah, and a few years back, I kind of went through a rough patch in my life, and it was when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, the teenage rebellion stage in your life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an awkward stage for all of us.
Yeah, for sure, and every year I always get smarter, and I'm kind of like, why did I do the things I did back then?
Yes. Sometimes you wish you had a way to kind of blank all that out so that the memories didn't come crashing in.
Yeah, for sure. and I kind of view the same way with growing up. Like, I remember some of the stupid things I once said, like calling a woman fat, you know, and it's like, kids say the darndest things, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I hope that people don't remember that.
I hope so, too. I hope they don't remember it, but I look back wondering, why did I say the stuff I said, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a list of questions that hopefully you have the answer for, and they're about your involvement in motor racing.
Sure.
Yeah, so where are you originally from?
I'm actually from the town of State College in Pennsylvania.
Ooh, so that's the name of the area, State College?
Yeah, it's a pretty unimaginative name for the town. It's a university town in Pennsylvania, and so they call it State College.
Oh, well, that's a good name for it, I'll say.
Right.
I'm from Estes Park, Colorado.
Oh, really? Where is that?
That's just next to the Rocky Mountain National Park.
Oh, right on. It must be beautiful out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of wilderness, and I grew up in the wilderness, if you know what I mean. Yeah. What's your real name?
My real name is Robert.
Ah, how'd you get your nickname Butch?
I think I was kind of just a fat little blob of a baby, and I guess somehow I kind of seemed like a butch.
Yeah, I remember that when I was in grade school, back when I was in middle school, back when I was still kind of a rebellious person, I used to call a girl that I didn't like Butch without realizing that it means the same thing as the B word.
Yeah, right.
Again, kids say the darndest things.
That's right.
My nickname is Bug or Doug.
All right.
Yeah.
How long have you had that? Was that since childhood?
Yeah, and at first I did not like being called Bug, but I got used to it as time went on.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. I like that.
Yeah, and people called me the Bug in high school because I was a prankster, kinda.
Alright.
Yeah. What made you get into motor racing?
Actually, I grew up with it. My dad raced. So, my first memories are being at the racetrack. And, all through school and, pretty much all of our vacations were basically racing vacations, going to, his different races. And, so being a race car driver is all I ever wanted to do. I didn't really know how it was going to happen, but, that's like the goal that I had from when I was 3 years old.
Ah, very glad you got to achieve that goal.
Yes.
I got involved because my grandfather was a fan, and he attended the Indy 500 where A.J. Foyt won his fourth 500.
Right, yes.
So A.J. Foyt was his hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who was your biggest hero growing up?
I think it was probably Mario Andretti.
Mario.
Yeah, he was, he was obviously an amazing driver, but the way that he was able to be competitive and win in every kind of car, in sprint cars and Indy, F1 and stock cars and sports cars, I always really loved that he was able to just jump in anything and would always just be flying. And also it helped that we had the same birthday, so I felt some kind of connection to him with that.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. And I would have to agree with you. If there's any driver that's probably the best, it's definitely Mario Andretti.
It's hard to argue against him, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame that he never won Indy again. That was,
Right.
I mean,
it shows you how difficult Indy is, doesn't it? Like where a driver of that talent, found so many different ways to be robbed of winning there. It shows you that that's nothing that you can ever just assume that you'll be able to win because you have the best car and you're the best driver.
yeah, it's just, I remember back in '87, he led like 190 of the first 200 laps and then broke down.
Right.
And that allowed Unser to win.
Right.
So, just a sec, my camera got shut off by accident, just a sec. Let me, turn it back on. So, okay, who was the biggest name in racing that you met?
I suppose it would have to be probably Dan Gurney.
Ooh, Dan Gurney.
And he's, he was actually probably a tie for my hero also. And for the same reasons, he was able to get into any kind of car and win with it. He was also, an excellent engineer and, also a businessman with his Eagle company as well. So, yeah, he was really one of my heroes as well. And I was able to meet him actually when I was still young. We were in California for one of my dad's races, and we made a stop at his shop. I think it was in Santa Ana, California. And he was very gracious and said hello and was just really friendly. And just a really, really neat guy.
Yeah, and that's like meeting Walt Disney for animation.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah. So yeah, when did you make your first start?
Actually, my first race was, let's see, 1985, and it was when I was 16, and I was actually in an off-road truck. Back then, the minimum age for car racing, in the SEC anyway, was 18 years old. But there was an off-road truck series in the Northeast that actually my dad had built a truck for a few years before because Nissan wanted to participate in it, and he did a few races with it, but then it kind of just got parked and they didn't really have any more interest in it anymore. So whenever I turned 16, I got out of the parking lot, was rusting behind the race shop, and got it together and raced that for 2 years. And it was such a fun time when you're 16 years old, able to go out like on a motocross track and tear around and go over jumps in a truck. It was about the best thing you could possibly do at that age.
Ah, that's really cool, man. Where was that at?
The main track was a place called Talladega in northern Pennsylvania. It's kind of the middle of nowhere. But they had a closed course off-road track with jumps, and it was all dirt. And God, it was just so much fun because you just beat the heck out of the truck. I mean, the truck took a real beating because the jumps were actually pretty big, and the truck was not really very modified. It was like a Nissan 4x4 truck. And so it had a little bit stiffer springs and shocks on it, but not very much. So it had landing off of every jump, the suspension just bottomed into the ground, and it was good. I was 16 when I was doing it, because if I did it now, it would probably cause me all kinds of back problems. But God, it was fun to do that.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool, man. And where did you get your business degree from?
I'm from Penn State University, which is the town that I grew up in here. I was racing while I was going to school here, and you can imagine that in my mind all I was really interested in was the racing part. But part of the deal with my parents was that if I was going to be racing, that I had to keep up my grades in school as well. So that was what I needed to continue going to school.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and yeah, parents are like that, they want to make sure you're doing your responsibilities, you know what I mean?
That's right, and I mean, it's good they did too. That's actually one of my biggest regrets is I didn't actually focus a bit more on the studies, because there's so much I did learn going to school, and if I would have actually put a bit more effort into it, I could have really gotten a lot more out of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The thing that I regret about high school is not just being stupid on occasion, but it's pretty much, I kind of regret not doing my motor racing interviews sooner. Because if I knew now, or if I knew then what I knew now, it could have helped me on a lot of areas in it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Have you been doing these interviews long?
Yeah, I have, for about a couple years now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I even did a movie actor recently as an interview.
Oh, right. Who was that?
Have you ever seen the film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Of course, yes.
I interviewed the actor of Jeremy Potts.
Okay, which one's Jeremy Potts? I don't remember which character that is.
He's the son of Dick Van Dyke in that movie.
Okay, right on.
He's obviously in his 60s by now.
Right, right.
It's been so long since that came out.
Right, I was a kid when it came out, yeah, so I remember.
Yeah, and a lot of my former schoolmates are very impressed with what I've done lately.
I bet.
Yeah. How did you... before I ask that, I'm going to say I don't take my success for granted, because you never know what tomorrow holds.
Well, that's a very good point, yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you form your brief NASCAR team, Leitzinger Racing?
That was actually, my parents' team. My parents had a race team, that my dad drove the race car for years and years. And eventually he got to a point where he became the Nissan factory team in IMSA sports car racing. So it became, instead of kind of more of a, it began as more of a hobby and kind of got more and more professional as it went on. And eventually it became a full factory team. But then in, what year was this, 1993, during one of the recessions, Nissan pulled out of racing and left the team without any funding anymore. And at that time, NASCAR was kind of getting towards its peak. And so we bought a chassis and did some NASCAR racing for 3 or 4 years, trying to make a go of it. But the sponsorship was a bit difficult to get, and after 3 or 4 years, we finally had to slow the team down. But we had some excellent runs. It was a lot of fun. We did with that team. We did mainly a series called, at the time it was called the Busch Grand National North Series, which was a series that ran in the Northeast, like Pennsylvania. I think it was about as far south as it went, and it went up into Loudon, New Hampshire, Thompson, Connecticut, and places like that. And then we did a few of the Busch Grand National Series, like at Watkins Glen, Richmond, Virginia, a couple other places.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool, man. And which road course is your favorite?
I think, there are a lot of favorites, honestly. Lime Rock in Connecticut is probably my favorite overall place. I love the circuit itself, but just the areas, so nice to be. The grounds of the track are lovely. It's a great place just to sit down on a blanket and watch the races. As far as just the circuit itself, I love Mosport outside Toronto in Canada.
Yeah.
It's amazingly fast, really high speed. It's a great place to watch. It's actually a place where I usually don't go out to watch because it reminds you of how fast you're going when you're actually going around it. But yeah, Mosport is probably one of the most thrilling places that I've ever raced.
That's really cool. And from what I've read from Ron Fellows, part of the reason he did so good at Watkins Glen was because of his experience at Mosport.
Yeah. I think Mosport definitely teaches you to, if you can go faster on Mosport, I think you should be good about anywhere because you really have to, pull down the seatbelts pretty hard and really be committed to a fast lap there.
Yeah.
But like Watkins Glen also is a wonderful track. Road America, Wisconsin, Sonoma, California. We're lucky in North America. We have a lot of really great circuits.
My favorite circuit out of all of them is Montreal.
I've never been there. I've always wanted to, but I never had a race there. But it looks like a really great circuit. I've heard it's a great place to watch a race as well.
Yeah, and what I liked about the NASCAR race in Montreal was that it was unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they came to circuit Gilles Villeneuve, I always placed a bet on who was going to win, and I lost every time. And a lot of the bets I made were for Marcus Ambrose, who was dominant there.
Right. Yeah, he was really good, wasn't he?
Yeah, the problem was he just couldn't pull it off for whatever reason.
Right.
So yeah, who gave you your first ride?
Let's see. After the family team, for the first few years it was just racing in the family team. But after that, I guess it was the Clayton Cunningham racing team. That was the Nissan factory team in the GTS series, where I drove for them at Daytona for the 24-hour. This was actually just right after Nissan pulled out of the GTU team that my family had. But I got a ride for this race, and I was really fortunate because that we actually won that year at Daytona. And that actually is kind of what put me into a position where I could start to actually make start to scratch a living out by being a professional driver.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. You got lucky, I'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's funny. One of the things about my whole career is that I landed in the right spot at the right time quite a few times in my career. Like with that, actually the next year I landed at Dyson Racing when they just needed someone to fill in for Daytona again, and I just I happened to be available at that time, and that enabled me to stay there for the next 20 years almost. There was I was able to just kind of fall in at the right time with the right people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that was in the 1990s when racing was at its pinnacle?
Yeah, it sure felt like that from the inside anyway. Through all the 90s, the racing was fantastic. There was some great drivers and teams that I was competing against, and it was just a great time to be a part of the scene.
I would have to agree with you. I think when NASCAR was at its pinnacle was between the 1990s all the way to 2007. And the reason I say 2007 is because that was probably the point where anyone could win, where the road course ringers were prominent factors at Sonoma and the Glen, and where pretty much any team could succeed if they had the right opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And, and the races were not so dominated by only a few drivers back then.
Right.
Like anybody could win.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just talking to some other people, some people that were around back then, and just how, speaking of being around it back then, there weren't like big teams of engineers working on the cars. Like when I do the occasional guest drives with the team, it would just be the crew chief. He'd come in from doing a couple laps and tell him what the car was doing, and he'd make, decide what adjustments, and maybe it wasn't there wasn't a lot of data that people were pouring over to figure out, if you needed a 16th of an inch ride height or something. It was just a much more human experience as opposed to data driven, and I think actually translated to a little bit better racing and more interest, because everything is so exact anymore.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, obviously everyone needs to do the best that they can, but there isn't as much variability. If a team's on top of all engineering, they're pretty much week in, week out, dominating.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And that's probably why the races seem to be dominated by the Penske or Hendrick or Gibbs team compared to everyone else.
I think so. I think they have great depth of engineering talent, and not to mention the drivers as well. But they're able to really be on the setup exactly time and again.
Alrighty, makes a lot of sense. And was intentional wrecking common back in the 1990s or 1980s, if you can remember?
Not really. I have to say no. someone else out, you mean?
Yeah, like in retaliation for crashing them, or no?
Not really. And especially the farther back you go, the less of that there really was. Just because it was, the farther back you go, the more dangerous it was.
Yeah.
So, when you were in a crash, especially in the 80s, there wasn't any, in the middle of the crash, you weren't, already thinking about, what you were going to do when you got back in the car. It was, you were really worried that you were going to get hurt. I think the cars are so safe these days that I think that, when the crash is coming, it's just more of a disappointment as opposed to a lot of fear going through the minds. But, it was, I mean, there were, of course, times where people did take each other out. But, man, the times that did happen, you would have really had to have chosen your spot to do it on a slow turn with some runoff. You wouldn't do it like in a high speed place, especially like on a pass over, where the consequences are so much higher. I think there's very little of it in those places.
Yeah. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't pick a high-speed track. Yeah. Remember when Kenseth took out Joey Logano a couple years ago?
Right, yes, I do.
I think that the reason he chose to not do it at Talladega, but at Martinsville, was because of the slower speeds. So that kind of backs up what you said a little bit.
Absolutely. And I have to admit, there's only one time that I actually spun someone out on purpose, and it was just a complete act of frustration, and I'm not proud of it or anything, but if ever that does happen, then you really have to make sure that you don't do it in a stupid place like Talladega. I mean, cars can't take off in the air and go to the stands, so you never want to do something there.
Yeah. What's your opinion on Kenseth taking out Joey? Did you support it or no?
Honestly, I wasn't too, I hadn't been really following up the series that much, so I didn't really have a side to pick on. But I do think it's generally that's not the right thing to do. I think it's a bit of a cheap shot. If you start to go down the drain a little bit, like if it's a revenge thing, well then now they have an excuse to have revenge on you the next week, and it can be a never-ending cycle if you start to go down that direction.
Yeah.
But the better way to if you're really having frustration like that is to you can still bang fenders and things like that. But that's actually more racing. You can be aggressively racing someone, but to just drop someone, I think isn't really the right thing to do.
Yeah. And the way I looked at it, I understood his frustration, but those crashes are still pretty high speed, so it can really hurt you, and probably wasn't the smartest choice he made, I'll say.
Right. You're right, because as you say, though, it's there's always unintended consequences. So even if you thought that it was going to be in a nice slow corner, somebody else could come along and T-bone, and you never know what might happen.
And then saying that he cut a tire afterwards, it's like, dude, yeah, right. You know what I mean?
That's right. The cover-ups afterward are usually worse than the crime in the beginning.
Yeah, and honestly, I do think to an extent that NASCAR might have been easier on him if he didn't try to say it was a tire. That's what I think.
Right.
They may have. Oh, go ahead.
I think when you insult their intelligence, that they can take a bit of an issue with that.
Yeah, I think if he would have just said, yes, I did it, NASCAR probably would have given him one race rather than two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
But, you know, the fact that he said a tire, it's like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah.
So how did you get your ride with Innovative Motorsports for the Lysol 200?
Right, let me think, actually. That was a great one. A great surprise. There was a young karter, a go-kart racer that was from my area, and he was working in the Innovative shop. And they, I think the regular driver that they had that year, well, I don't remember who it was. I think they might have fired them, or maybe I think they're kind of going race by race with different drivers. And this young Carter, like said, well, why don't you give Butch Leitzinger a call? And so I got a call out of the blue, asking if I was available for that weekend, and I jumped on it, and it was a great team. I really had a nice time that weekend. We almost won the race, but I got into a little bit of a shoving match with BJ Jones, and bent the toe out of the front of the car, and kind of lost the handling, and Ron Fellows got around me and then took the win.
So what was your reaction when you finished second to Ron Fellows? Were you mad or were you disappointed?
I was a little bit disappointed, honestly. If I can remember everything that happened there, we did it. We had a good fuel strategy, and I think there was a yellow flag fairly late in the race, and a bunch of people came in for the last top up of fuel, and I didn't have to, so I had the lead, and we had good pace, but I could see as much as I heard when we went back to racing, I saw BJ Jones kind of like passing car after car. I could see him coming, and he was really, really strong, and I figured that I might be a little bit of a sitting duck, because he just kind of dusted everyone, including Ron Fellows, if I remember right. And he got up to me going down the front straight, and he wasn't close enough to pass yet, but I thought that the next lap that it was going to be pretty close. And just after I thought that I'd have to worry about the next lap, he took a big dive going into the first turn, and I could see that he wasn't going to make it without hitting me. And I gave him as much room as I could, but he still gave me a huge whack. And knocked me out a bit. And it really made me mad, actually. So we were side by side coming out of the first turn, and we just went side by side the whole way through the turn 2 and then turn 3 at the top of the hill there, which is not a really good place to go side by side. We were hitting each other the whole time. And he got knocked into the wall, and I think he still finished. Maybe he's been through something, but it knocked him back, but it knocked the alignment out of the front of my car, so I wasn't quite as quick after that, and Ron was able to get me.
Were you tempted to dump Ron for the win at all, or no?
No, actually, no, because Ron has always been a really clean driver. I mean, he's obviously incredibly talented, but also very friendly. I mean, he and his wife Linda are just lovely people, and so he was very clean in his pass on me, and I defended as hard as I could, but he was just too quick, and I wasn't going to take him out just to drop him.
Alrighty, that's good on you. Did you hear that he was awarded the Member of the Order of Canada?
I just read that, didn't I? I saw some mention of that recently. That's good on him, because he's a great representative of the country.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. Yeah, did you know Vic Sifton at all?
Oh boy, I know that name. Where do I know the name from?
Kanaska Racing?
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, I'm connected with him, and I have a professional association with him.
Oh right.
Yeah, and he was the guy that told me that Ron got the Order of Canada.
I see.
He was the guy that told me, and I kind of was in agreement with it, but Vic was like, not too sure, you know? But, you know, I think Ron deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, the professional success that he's had is one thing, but also he's always carried himself well and, you know, been a great ambassador for the country. So I think that's well chosen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What was it like being sponsored by Hanna-Barbera and Cartoon Network in the 29 car?
That was awesome. I got to drive a car with a big Fred Flintstone on the hood, and Dino and Barney on the side, and I still have the driver's seat from that too. That was, you know, at the end of the weekend, because it was just a one-off drive. I got you know, they gave me one of the old drivers' uniforms to wear. At the end of the weekend, I just asked them, can I please just keep this uniform because it's too cool. You know, it has an enormous Fred Flintstone head on the back of it. But that was actually a great team too. The crew chief or the team manager there was Bill Engel, and he was really, really good. I really probably connected best with him than I did with anyone whenever I did NASCAR racing. And we had a great car. And actually, I was in third pretty late in the race, and I tried to pass Bobby Labonte, and I locked up the rear brakes and got axle hopped and spun, and then dropped to the back of the lead lap, and I ended up 20th or something. But that was really disappointing because we actually had a chance. Because it was at the time it was Ken Schrader leading, then Bobby Labonte than me, and I was quicker than Bobby, and Ken Schrader ran out of gas, and so I would have moved up that way. But Jeff Bodine was flying. I think he put new tires on, and he flew past everybody. So he probably would have beaten me, but it would have been a nice result.
So you think that the 1996 race at the Glen was your nearest miss of your racing career, probably?
Yeah, I had a long career, so I had a lot of near misses, unfortunately. But yeah, that's one of the biggest ones. Probably definitely one of them that I look back and think, you know, if only I wouldn't have made that mistake, would have had a much better result.
Yeah. What was driving for Buzz McCall's team like in the Busch Series?
That was really nice as well. Buzz, I know Buzz from Sports Car Racing. You know, he's a racer himself. And actually, I saw him even a few years ago. He was still racing in the World Challenge Series. But yeah, he had formed that NASCAR team, and they had some success. And for some reason, I think Ward Burton was driving for him that year. But I think maybe Ward Bennett jumped up to a Winston Cup team, and so they had a vacancy. And I talked to him and got the ride to the Glen. Butch Enders was the crew chief, and he was another really good guy. We got along really well. The car ran really strongly. I want to say we qualified probably fifth or so. But we were running, I want to say the second or third for a lot of the race, and I think we might got shuffled back a little bit in the yellow flag, but it was getting up to the front again, and Ricky Craven and I were kind of going up through the field. And then Ricky kind of dove on me and spun me, and that kind of ruined the day for me. But it was a good car. It was another good race that might have been.
Alrighty. Yeah, I interviewed Buzz McCall last year, and he was very talkative, I'll say.
Oh yeah, he was a good guy. I really like Buzz.
Yeah. How did you get your sudden ride with Bill Davis Racing a decade after your last start?
Yeah, that was another kind of surprise. That actually came about through Bill Riley. Bill Riley of Riley Technologies. They did a lot of chassis work, and they were doing a program with Bill Davis for the road course car. So Bill actually got me that ride, or kind of opened the door for me, and that was another good team. I really liked working with Tommy Baldwin was the team manager then, and we again I really enjoyed working with him. He was really switched on. He had a really good understanding of what when I would come in and say what the car was doing, he would translate that into changes that really worked. The race weekend didn't go quite as well. We qualified pretty poorly, and in the race actually we seemed to have a problem with getting the tires to work. They we had 3 sets of tires, and the first set and the last set didn't seem to perform as well. But the middle set went really well. We were kind of flying, but then as soon as we put the last set on, kind of dropped right back again.
Alrighty. What was your reaction to Juan Pablo Montoya shocking the world that day?
Well, yeah, I was pretty disappointed actually, because I remember I qualified ahead of him, and but I was still pretty far back. I want to say I was like maybe 30th or so on qualifying, and I remember Ricky Rudd was ahead of me, like directly in front of me on the grid, and Sonoma, is a very narrow place, and it's not a real easy place to pass. And I just thought, well, okay, I know Ricky Rudd's a really good road racer, and he's right in front of me, and he's got a lot of experience, so I'm probably just gonna try to follow him. He punched it through a few places, and it was the wrong call, because he had a horrible start, and I just kind of fell back, and I remember Juan Pablo blasting by me, might have been on the run up to the first turn, he had a completely different day than I had. He went from 30th to first, and I kind of hung around 30th, I think, most of the day.
That's tough.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, the Toyotas which you drove were way off that year.
Right. I think that was the first year of the car of tomorrow, and those cars were really horrible. The last time I had driven a cup car was, you might know, it was 10 years before that.
Yeah.
And the actual level of grip that the cars had, even though they're quite heavy and the tires are small, they handled really well. And then I got into this car, and it was just absolutely horrible. At Sonoma, the run up the pit straight, it's actually not as straight. It's like a kind of never-ending series of kinks and turns, and you just couldn't put the power down. You spent all the time just modulating the throttle, trying to keep the rear tires from spinning.
Yeah, that had to be not fun, I'll say, or not memorable.
Right.
Have you ever been to the Daytona 500?
I've been just as a spectator. I never drove in it, but yeah, I was there a few times. I had a sponsorship from Kendall Motor Oil in the Busch car, in the family car we had, and I went down as their guest, and got to sit in the hospitality and watch the race. It was actually the year that Earnhardt went on his roof on the back street. I think that must have been probably 95 or 96.
I think it was 97.
Was it 97 then? Okay.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly exciting racing. I love big events like that. Like the Daytona 500, Indy 500, or the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where there's just so much, electricity electricity in the air before the start of the race, and you really get a feel for the importance of the race.
Ah, makes a lot of sense. I've been to several NASCAR races, mostly at Phoenix Raceway.
All right.
Yeah, and I've met some of the drivers while I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one I met was Kyle Larson.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame the mistake he made recently, don't you think?
I do. Yeah, it's I think probably a lot of people went into the iRacing thinking it was just kind of a fun way to kind of clown around, and unfortunately,
yeah,
I think some words that were said obviously without much thought really had big ramifications.
Yep, it's like the Mel Gibson scenario, kinda.
right. It's sad, but it's obviously it's a horrible word.
Yeah.
And it's just a bad situation, and I'm sure it's something where probably the minute he realized that what he had done, he must have just wanted to crawl into a hole.
Yeah, probably. Because he seemed very remorseful in his video that he gave. Yeah. It's very tough, and that kind of shows that something you say can cost you dearly.
It's true. I wouldn't wish those, that feelings on anyone. I'm sure that he just is, just crushed him.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone either. So yeah, what is driving the 24 Hours of Le Mans like?
It's pretty amazing. The speed of the place is just unlike anything else. There's 4 places on the circuit where you're over 200 miles per hour, and you're going through all kinds of conditions. At night, it might be pouring down with rain. You can't see anything, and you're just having to kind of trust that there's nothing in the road up ahead of you because the headlights aren't piercing the rain, and your windscreen's all fogged up anyway. It's a very intense place.
Wow. And is it held in France?
That's correct. Yes, in the town of Le Mans in France, a bit west of Paris. And it's another place like Daytona 500 where just the ambient electricity of the crowd. There's like 300,000 people that come to the race, and there's just so much excitement around it, and the racing. It's very high stakes racing. The teams will, some of the factory teams will have budgets of $100 million or more. So there's huge stakes for all the drivers. So everyone's under an enormous amount of pressure just for this one race.
That's really cool. And is it one of the big races like Daytona and Monaco and Indy?
Yeah. That's really what they call part of the Triple Crown with Monaco, Le Mans, and Indy 500. There's only been a few drivers who have won all 3. I think with Graham Hill, Mario came super close. I think. I'm trying to think of who else might. Maybe it was only Graham Hill that's won the 3.
I think it is Graham. Yeah. I remember watching a funny interview that Graham Hill did when Andy Granatelli brought his turbine to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Remember that?
Yes.
Graham Hill said in the interview, he was like, I don't think it's cheating. I think it's clever. I'm only sorry that I didn't think of it first.
Right. Yes. In those days, there was a lot more creativity allowed.
Yeah.
if the rule book didn't specifically say that something was illegal, then it was pretty much open for you to try.
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, Parnelli Jones led like 195 or something of the 200 laps, and then broke down, allowing Foyt to win.
Right. Like, yeah. That was like one of those where the $2 parts bailed, I think, a few laps from the end.
Yeah, funny because AJ Foyt had predicted before the race that was going to break down, although he predicted that it would have broken down after only a few laps, rather than at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. What is driving an IMSA like?
It's just a great series, actually. It has number one, it has a great vibe. It's a little bit more kind of relaxed. The teams, maybe have a little bit more camaraderie. It's not like the teams aren't quite so cordoned off. So there's actually a little bit of mingling that goes on. But the racing's fantastic. The cars are really exciting. When I was racing, we were racing little prototypes, and before that, a Riley and Scott prototype, racing against Ferraris and Acuras later on. And now there's all kinds of brilliant cars. In the prototype class, they have the Acura and Cadillac, and then in the GT classes, there's Corvettes and Porsche and all kinds of like Ferraris as well, Lamborghinis. So there's really interesting cars, interesting sounds. There's a wide variety of engines. There's turbocharged 4 cylinders, normally aspirated V8s, so you have a really interesting contrast from car to car with the sounds that the car makes.
Pretty cool. Have you ever met John Paul Jr.?
I haven't met him. He's actually one of my best friends. Yeah, he's a fantastic guy. He actually, some of my best success has been co-driving with him. For 1 year, I'm going to forget what year it was, but it might have been 97. Every time that we drove together, we would win.
Oh.
And what makes that even more impressive was the part of some of those wins were after he had an enormous shunt at the Indy 500, actually testing for the Indy 500 where he broke his leg.
Oh.
And for the second half of the year, John was still my teammate, but he would hobble out to the car, obviously in huge pain. But once he put his helmet on and fired up the car and got going, he was still faster than anyone. It was just his commitment and his ability to focus that got him through it. But I'm sure he was in excruciating pain because you could see just even trying to walk that he was having a hard time. But no, but John was always a great teammate, great friend, really, one of the sweetest guys that you could ever meet.
Yeah, a different story from his dad, I'll say, probably, from what I've read.
Well, yeah. It's one of those things where it's hard to believe that the two are related, But John Paul Jr. was just he was always a great guy. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned him because I need to give him a call. It's been a while since I talked to him.
Yeah, you should do that probably when you're done with this phone call and all that.
You're right.
So yeah, let me think. Oh yeah, isn't John Paul Jr., doesn't he run some sort of foundation now?
Well, I think you might be right. I think he actually has a condition, Huntington's disease.
Oh.
Which is a form of I'm forgetting the name of the disease. Like Michael J. Fox has, like Parkinson's.
Oh.
Where the body kind of stops listening to the brain. But he's actually done better than I think anyone that they have on record.
Oh.
And to the point where they're actually studying him so much better than other people. But yeah, he's been challenged with that for the past actually quite a few years. But he's last time I spoke to him, he was doing really well. I was able to see him when I was in Los Angeles, and it's still the same John, with the big smile, and it was nice to talk about old stories with him.
Yeah. How is he doing with, knowing that he's probably not going to see his dad again?
That's a good question, but I don't actually know. I didn't really talk to him about his dad. I never really knew his dad. I think I met him once, I think. So I never really talked to him so much about his dad.
Yeah.
With Johnny had so many other stories. He was in racing for so long, and had so many wins in so many different cars and types of car that most of the time was taken up with me asking him stories from different years.
Yeah. Hopefully he's moved on, because if I were in his shoes, it would kind of be tough for me to move on, knowing my autism and all that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. What is driving the American Le Mans series like?
That was another great series. John Panos formed that series back in the late 90s, I think it was, and was really able to get the manufacturers involved in it. It kind of kick-started sports car racing again, where all of a sudden, you had BMW and Audi and Porsche and some other manufacturers as well come in and kind of really raise the level of sports car racing in the United States, but also worldwide. The American Le Mans Series really did help to kind of keep sports car racing going at a time when it started to get a little bit less relevant to the rest of the racing world.
Pretty cool. Do you still race today, or?
Only as a hobby, a little bit. I have a friend who has some vintage cars, historic cars, and every now and then he'll invite me, and we'll come out and just do a little bit of drive, like a Daytona. They have what they call the Classic 24, where they kind of recreate the 24-hour race for older cars, and so we get to have a little bit of fun and have a beer and kick back afterwards. So it's a much more relaxed atmosphere and mellower time. I still get to enjoy driving a car around a racetrack.
That's good to hear. Have you met any other road racers like Nick Janssen, Andy Pilgrim, or Boris Said?
All great guys. Nick was a teammate with us at Dyson for one of the 24-hour races in Daytona. So I spent some time with him, a really nice guy. And Andy Pilgrim is a fantastic guy. A great driver. I raced against him for the first time. Would have been like 1987, with my first year of racing. He was doing a series called the Firestone Firehawk Series. That was for street cars, and he was fast then. And actually, the last year I raced professionally was when he was at 2015, and I was racing against him then too, because we were the Pirelli World Challenge. He was driving the Cadillac, and I was driving the Bentley, and he was still just as fast then. And then Boris, I've been racing with Boris, from the beginning as well. We really got to race against each other a lot in the Trans Am series, and he's a great competitor. Really, another nice guy, plenty fast. It was, he won the championship that year. I placed second to him in the championship. It was always a huge challenge to race against him.
Very nice. Oh yeah, I should tell you, I interviewed Andy Pilgrim last year, and he's another driver that I have a professional relationship with.
Oh, right. Oh, nice. He's a good one to be involved with. He's really interesting and fun.
Yeah, in fact, he and I plan to do a video sometime soon where I take a ride in a sports car with him.
Oh, very good. Well, he's a safe pair of hands, so you should have a good time.
Yeah, for sure. What's your favorite racing movie between Days of Thunder, Talladega Nights, or any other films there are?
Well, I mean, Talladega Nights is fantastic. I mean, pretty much anytime it's on, I'll stop and at least watch some of it because, like, it's just hilarious. The movie Lamont is fantastic. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was a flop, as far as like box office success, because it's actually pretty true to real life in that the hero doesn't win the race and he doesn't get the girl and he crashes in the middle of it. But it's really well made. Some of the videography from it is astounding.
Yeah, I have a funny story to tell you about Talladega Nights.
Yeah, what's happening?
Back when I was in high school, before my rough period in my life began, I had partnered with someone for one of the talent shows that they had. And basically, I partnered with him to do a Jean Girard impersonation. And my impersonation was spot on, but his wasn't. Like, his accent was way off, and I was like, dude, what booze have you been drinking? And the class got a laugh out of it.
Nice.
And not only that, but when the guy was struggling, I basically was like, I used my impersonation, which was spot on, and then I was like, it's that easy, dude, try it. And he wasn't able to get it, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. Do you watch Impractical Jokers at all?
I have not seen that, no.
That's a show you need to check out soon. There's an episode where they involve a stunt driver in it.
Yes.
So you might want to check it out very soon. It's really funny.
I don't know, that sounds a bit worrisome, that a practical joke with a stunt driver, it sounds like it'd scare the heck out of me.
Well, it wasn't really a race car at a track or anything. They just used a race car driver to drive one of their cars while someone ate a full-course meal in the back seat.
Oh, no.
And they did it to punish one of the guys.
All right.
And as the guy was spilling soup all over his car, he was like, I hate you guys.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Did you see Logan Lucky a couple years back?
I did. That's the one where they robbed the racetrack, right?
Yeah.
Right. I did see that. That was good.
Yeah, my brother and I saw it during Labor Day, and our favorite part was when Seth MacFarlane's character tries to report the robbery, only to be rebuked by his disgruntled employee. Remember that?
Yeah, I do that. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
That was a good movie. I like that.
Yeah. And the fact that the FBI did not buy his story because of his disgruntled driver,
Right.
that was funny. It's like, poor Seth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What's your favorite moment from racing in IMSA?
Wow, boy, that's a tough one. Because I had a long IMSA career, so there's quite a bit to choose from. But I suppose the best moment would have been when we won the 24 Hours of Daytona in '97. Just because it was the first time that the Tyson team had won Daytona, and Rob Tyson had been trying to for a long time, and it meant a lot to him. So it was nice to be part of the team to be able to pull that off for Rob.
Aw, that's really nice. What's racing the road course at Daytona like compared to the oval version?
It's quite a good road course. Sometimes what we call the rovals with the
Charlotte
road course inside the oval. Sometimes they're not very creative and a bit boring. But Daytona has some good turns. What we call the bus stop in the back stretch, where we have like a fast left, right, left on the back straight, and there's a nice fast kick in the infield. So we're actually able to use the car, at a high speed and really feel the car kind of moving underneath you. It's quite a good course. It's good for a 24-hour too, because there's with the lighting on the racetrack, they use like for the 500, you don't have the dark zones that you do at Le Mans, where there are places that you just can't see very well, because as good as headlights are these days, they're still not good enough to be driving 200 miles an hour. So it's nice to have the oval lit up for the race.
Yeah, pretty cool. What is driving Trans Am like?
That was an interesting series. The cars were really good. A bit like NASCAR in that they were all similar level performance, and all using basically the same engines, V8 engines. A little bit more high performance in that they're lower weight, a little more aerodynamics for downforce. And it was the year that I did it was a good field. Paul and Borison and Stu Hader were probably the biggest competition. And Borison had a few really good races. I really enjoyed it. There was always some problems with the kind of the running of the events. There's a lot of there's always a lot of politics going on, it seems. So that part of it I didn't really miss whenever I was done with it.
Yeah. Speaking of Boris, did you watch the race at Daytona in 2006 on your television where he almost won in his own car?
I don't remember that, actually.
Yeah, it was... Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't think I saw that. I don't remember that happening.
Yeah. In 2006, Boris, with help from Frank Stoddard and Jack Roush, he started a brief Cup Series team sponsored by No Fear. And 2 races into his team, he participated in the Pepsi 400, or the Pepsi Firecracker 400. And Boris almost pulled it off. Basically, he led at the white flag, and Tony Stewart stole it from him on the final lap, basically passing him. And Boris ended up finishing 4th.
Oh, right on. Actually, I don't know why, but I don't remember that at all. But yeah, I believe it, because Boris was a great talent. It still is a great talent. But that's too bad he didn't pull it off, because he's a great guy.
Yeah, and if I remember right, Tony Stewart was even impressed by it. He said in the press conference, he didn't say it in Victory Lane, but he kind of said it in the press conference. He was like, I really hated to take that from Boris, but our car was too good to lose.
Right.
So even he was impressed,
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. You'll have to check that out.
Yeah, good.
So this is my last question on the list. What does your future look like as far as racing?
For me, I'm retired from real racing. So for me, it's just a matter of, if my friend calls me up and says he'd like to go out to like a vintage race, I'll have a nice weekend and drive some nice cars and have a fun time. But my real kind of competition having a big punch up on the racetrack with other drivers, those days are over. But they're a lot of fun while they lasted.
Alrighty, that's pretty cool. I have one last question for you before we before we end this call. How how would you rate this interview on a scale of 1 to 10 if you had to think of it?
No, give me a 10. This was a fun time. Like, time was flying by. Actually, just looking at the clock, I didn't realize we spent a little over an hour. So, it was a lot of fun. It was good to talk about the old days.
Yeah, for sure. We should do this more often, you know?
Surely. Let me know.
Yeah, and from what I understand, this was the longest interview I've done.
All right. Well, I hope I didn't drag on too long.
No, it's fine. I'm okay. The longer the better, I always say.
Okay, good.
Alrighty, thank you so much, bud.
Good to talk to you.
No problem, and check out my YouTube channel, Movie Doug 55.
I'll write that down. Movie Maker Doug 55.
Yep.
Alright, I'll check it out.
Alrighty, thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Turned out very well.